Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. It's great to have you with us. We're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. Before we get into our next story, I'd like to remind our listeners that we have a free gift for you. We have a bi-monthly newsletter. All you have to do is give us a call at our office at New Concepts. The number during the week, 952-922-2500. Ask for Courtney, and she'll make sure that you start receiving your free copy. You can receive it electronically or by the mail. And we have probably 23,000 subscribers now and growing.
That's just mind-boggling, but it's chock full of good information, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Let me tell our listeners just some of the things that it is chock full of. And one is, and this is something that we hear a lot of great response from our listeners and from our clients. At New Concepts, we put on monthly webinars. They're free. All you have to do is to go online at the comfort of your home. And if you live in a homeowners association and you're wondering what is this thing, this HOA? Maybe you've thought about running for the board of directors, but you don't know what's involved. Mm-hmm. What are your responsibilities? What are the things that you deal with? We deal with all kinds of free classes that help those living in homeowner associations. Coming up, we have the next one, I think, webinar is April 25th. It's on the area of collections. What are the best practices to put in place for a homeowner association? And folks, if you have wondered about that, this is going to be a great class because it's taught by not one but two great folks who've been on our show many times.
Yeah.
Paul Roth, who's Executive Vice President of New Concepts, and Dan Greenstein is also on. So that's on April 25th. If you get the newsletter, or if you go online, you can go to our website and register for that event. Yeah, I think each webinar is probably, like I said, half an hour, 45 minutes in length. You've done them on rental policies, procedures, on board, the role of the board. Mm-hmm. We've done them on insurance. A lot of great
dealing with difficult people.
Oh,
that's always a popular one, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We did that one last month, and we've already been asked to do that again.
Yeah.
So get your free copy of What's New by giving us a call at 952-922-2500.
I want to ask our listeners, too, to call us and let us know what you think of the radio show, or give us your ideas for topics, or give us your opinions. That hotline number is 952-224-2668. It's a hotline, so you can call anytime, 24/7, and leave us your thoughts.
Yes. And let's go now to our next story. And this comes from the Maplewood Brentwood Patch, a community web news service. And this comes from St. Louis, Missouri. This is the story about a ousted board member who sues and gets back on his board. and it makes you think, if Tony, let me ask you the question. If you were serving as a volunteer for free giving time, and you and others on the board, they all turned and they said, "We don't want you anymore." Do you think you would say, "This is a group I want to hang around and stay"?
Yeah, isn't that something? The board of directors of a community usually, I mean, if the community is under 200 units, it's usually a pretty close-knit group. In other words, they all know come to know each other very well. It becomes a very personal thing. So, yeah, if the board turned to me and said, you got to go, my feelings would be hurt. I probably wouldn't want to hang out with them anymore.
Yeah.
I would probably slink off back to my townhouse and keep a low profile.
But that doesn't always happen, because in homeowner associations, we see quite often that the opposite takes place, because we're not talking about something that just affects your social life. You're talking about something that affects your home, which, of course, is everybody's biggest investment. And so you have people that I think because of that, I think emotions run deeper than in associations than with other organizations.
That's a good point. So it's not just about my personal feelings. It's about what happens in my neighborhood. Yeah.
But, folks, here's what took place. St. Louis, Missouri, after his attorney filed a temporary restraining order on April 4th against the board of directors of the Brentwood Forest Condominium Association, Gary Bierman is now back on the board of the association, although he no longer serves as president.
Okay.
Joan Smith, who replaced Bierman following his removal from the board of the association, she is going to retain the title as president. However, the settlement allows Bierman to complete his 4-year term that concludes in mid-June of this year.
So what happened? How does a board kick somebody off?
Yes. Well, maybe we can even ask the reason. Why would a board want to kick someone off? Yeah. You've been to a couple board meetings. Have you?
I have.
Have you
I've
had
been
to
to one
deal
or
with?
two.
Have you been involved with them asking for someone to be removed or to leave?
Well, I was asked to hold an intervention for a board.
An intervention?
Yes. They called an ad hoc meeting of the board because one board member was being so disruptive to the group and its ability to perform its duties that they wanted to get together just to discuss that particular issue. This was a 9-member board, one person that was really just a contrarian, was unhappy with anything. And the board decided.
Were they able to, even though this was a one person who was against, you said 8 others, were they effective enough at being able to stop or hinder the board from its duties?
Well, yes, because they their disputes and their whatever arguments against the actions that were on the table just caused meetings to run so long. It just prolonged every decision. It went from meeting to meeting to meeting. They were unable to make a decision, and it was burning everyone out. It was really wearing on everyone else because they couldn't get anywhere.
Okay.
This person also would tell her neighbors what the board did, what she didn't like about it, and if the board did manage to make a decision, then she would campaign against that decision with her neighbors.
Okay, so she was very active then at disinformation campaign.
That's right. So I don't know that any good came from my intervention, except there was, I guess, having an outsider there to kind of guide the discussion and point some things out helped keep it civil. The truth of the matter is, in a board situation, you have to put the principles of the community before the personalities involved.
Oh,
right?
Isn't that the truth?
That's an old AA adage. Principles before personalities. I don't like you. You're my neighbor. And I've never liked you, but I'm sitting on a board with you, so I have to set that aside so that you and I can work together for the benefit of the community. I think that was the number one lesson.
So, I mean, people a lot of times they say, here's someone I don't like, and they just want to categorically just dismiss anything that they have to say.
Right.
And
right.
That is really unfortunate because just because it's someone you don't like doesn't mean that they don't have a good idea.
That's right.
And sometimes people just kind of spite their nose to save their face, right?
That's right. I think ultimately with the board I was working with, the person did stay on the board. They didn't take action to oust them. But most governing documents do allow for that, don't they, Gene?
Yes, there is a procedure that is allowed for an association to follow. And you ask what that might be. Well, I tell you what, we're going to take a break right now. And when we come back, we will talk about what happened in the case of this homeowner, this Gary Bierman, and what a homeowner association can do when dealing with a difficult individual on the board. Back after these messages.